Stephen Hamilton, and I was born in Sandwell, West Midlands. Growing up, my life was crazy. It wasn't a normal upbringing. It wasn't the worst upbringing, but it wasn't the greatest upbringing. Lived with my mum and my stepdad. They had a very turbulent, I think the word I'm looking for is relationship. So memories of childhood's not that great, to be completely honest with you. There was a lot of alcohol, a lot of violence. We're from a council estate, we had no money. So childhood and early memories, really not that good, if I'm completely honest with you. So that was where it all started. That was my first ever house that I was born and raised till I was about 8 years old. It was a 1-bedroom flat in Shard End. When you see it on there, it had the balcony, the blue balcony on the left-hand side. Me and my mum, and then obviously my sister was born two and a bit years after me, and she was here as well. And then we left here and went to Willenhall. Fond memories. My mum was a very, very happy person. She was always smiling. She always tried to have fun. She had really good banter. She was massively into her boxing, which was really good as well. That helped me because obviously now boxing's one of my favourite things. Other fond memories. Being from a council estate, you have a lot of friends. It's like a little community. People stick together. So I had good times, and obviously it made me the person I am today. So that's the house. I was brought up in my teens, really. 12 Albion Avenue. But I used to play football there. And then this side here, so from like here, it went all the way across to there. You can still kind of faintly see the outline on the thing. That was a goal for my mate, and then I was in that goal. But this is the most significant part of my whole life, Albion Avenue. And obviously, anyone who knows me knows I'm a massive Albion fan as well, so it's kind of like, it's very strange. And then if we just walk here, so this was the entrance to my primary school. They've knocked it down now and turned it into like a sports field, so there's football goals on there and stuff. And me and the lads used to jump over on a Saturday and Sunday and play football on the playground. And then as you get older and you start being a bit naughty, we was kicking the ball, and obviously we smashed the window one day. And my mum was watching me out the back window, and I just remember her screaming. And then when I got home, I was in serious trouble, like serious trouble. And then when we turned up to school on Monday, they put us all in assembly, and they was like, right, can Stephen Hamilton, I'm not going to say the other 3 lads, and can you all get up? And there's like, these guys were smashing the school windows because they knew. My mum went round and told them. So living in Willenhall obviously made me the person I am today. That was the area that really gave me an insight into everything. I had all different types of characters around me. I was really good at understanding people. I could figure people out. It's like a gift that I have. I'm really good with human beings. So that really helped me. I was naughty to an extent. Like everybody's naughty as a child. Everyone does something. I did a few more things. There was a few dark times. Probably not in my teens, 18, 19, yeah. There was a few dark times, a few things I went through that I'm not proud of. But would I change my upbringing? No, because I wouldn't be sitting here doing this today if I changed anything, so no. It was tough in general anyway, because my mum was on benefits. We didn't have a lot of money, albeit we didn't really want for anything. They made sure we had what we needed, but it was tough. But it makes you, I think, this kind of place. But the one thing I will say, I always knew that I was going to get everything I wanted anyway. I always had it, even from 14, 15 years old. I knew I was going to get all the things. I dreamed of a Ferrari, I dreamed of a big house, I dreamed of all the things that I wanted, and I knew I was going to get them. It wasn't like, oh, I don't know what to do. I just knew it was going to happen because I had something in me that I thought was a little bit different. it's strange actually, because my mum and my stepdad used to leave me and my sister on our own in the house when I was about 13, and from there to there doesn't seem like, it's like nothing. When I was 13 years old, that was miles and miles away. And they used to say, oh, we'll be back at 11 o'clock. Now I knew they would never be back at 11 o'clock. And I used to get scared at about midnight, and I used to run from that front door to here, and I used to look around the corner like that to see if they was coming home, because I was that scared. And then I used to open that top window and I used to listen, because they used to fight a lot. There was a lot of violence in the house. And when they got to like there, you could hear them arguing, and I used to shit myself. I used to think, for fuck's sake, like, oh, what's going to happen when they walk in the house? And 90% of the time it was just World War III, it was violence. So even just being here now, thinking of that, I've never talked about that for years and years and years, but thinking about it is just quite scary really, from like, when you think about your childhood and stuff like that. My mum and stepdad had the most violent relationship possible. There was fights, there was arguments, consistently, all alcohol fueled. Now we had happy times as well. So I can't just sit here and say there was violence, but 50% violence, 50% happiness. It shouldn't even be 10% violence, shouldn't even be 1% violence, but there's just things that we saw in our teenage years that, like, he shouldn't even like be allowed to speak. He shouldn't even be allowed to breathe. Now, my past defines me, but it doesn't dictate my future. So I'm not a victim. I am just another number on the domestic violence chart of children who have seen this. We're leaving Willenhall now, and we are going to Smethwick. So I was born in Sandwell. My dad is Indian and my mum is Irish, and I was raised by my mum and my granddad's side of the family. So we're going to my granddad's house now. This is where I spent most of my life basically. So Monday to Friday I lived in Willenhall. Saturday and Sunday I lived in Smethwick, and this is obviously a massive part of my love for West Bromwich Albion, because my nan lives right next to the West Bromwich Albion football ground. So first football game I went to was West Brom, and obviously all these years later it's still a massive part of my life. There it is, one of my favourite things in the world, West Bromwich Albion. Massive part of my life growing up. Even today I don't go as much, obviously since COVID I haven't been. That's just because I'm really busy, but I'm definitely going to start making more time, because it is one of the most important things ever. West Bromwich Albion. This is it. This is another massive part of my life. So that's my nan and granddad's house, that one on the corner there. With the lamps. And again, that small window at the top was my bedroom. That's exactly where my granddad used to sit in his wheelchair. Right there. Years and years and years and years and years and years of his life, he used to sit there in his wheelchair, used to get a tan, and then he used to wheel himself up the road to the pub, and my nan would look out the window and he'd be gone. Seriously. Hey, I know I'm a stranger, ain't I?
Yeah.
How are you?
All right, keep going.
I'm very well, thank you. You're looking very healthy.
Yeah.
You don't age.
Oh, I am.
No, you're feeling it, but you don't look it.
Yeah. 254.
Thank you very much. He's been here this whole time.
Yeah.
He's never left.
Your granddad used to come as regular as well.
Yes, I know. Does my nan still come?
No,
I know she's still here, but she doesn't come.
No, she don't come.
But she's still here.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right. Okay.
See you later.
See you.
My nan still lives there. Yeah, I don't speak to her now. No, haven't spoken. We're not fell out. I just haven't spoken to her for 6 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's easier just not to speak to people. When my mum passed away, I was 23, and on the Friday night, I had a phone call from my mum saying that she's going down to the pub. It'd be nice for you to come because your friend's coming back from Wales who you grew up with. And I was like, yeah, I'll be there, I'll pop down. And I came home in the afternoon on a Friday and I fell asleep. And then I woke up about 11:30 and I had a couple of missed calls on my phone from my mum, and I called her back, she didn't answer, called her back, she didn't answer. And then about 12:30 at night, she called me back and she was like, oh, I can't believe you missed it. It was a great night. We've just got home, it was fantastic. I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll see you over the weekend. And then that was the last conversation I had with her. She had an aneurysm, and the next phone call I got was a Sunday, and that was actually from my real dad, not my stepdad. And he was like, your mum's in hospital. She's had a stroke or something, because I don't think no one knew what it was at that time. And she's in Walsall Manor. You need to get to Walsall Manor as soon as you can because it doesn't look good. So I jumped in my car, got to the hospital, walked in. She was in the room, she was sitting up, she couldn't speak. She was looking at me, but she couldn't speak. She was trying to speak, she couldn't speak. She couldn't really move her arms or legs, didn't really know what was going on at that point. It was a bit crazy. And they had a conversation with us, and then I remember going outside again with the doctor, and I was like, explain it to me in layman's terms. And he was basically said, your mum's brain has split into two, and she's completely brain dead. There is nothing there. And if your mum ever does regain some sort of consciousness, she's not going to be the person you remember. She's going to require 24-hour care. And that was his professional opinion. Now, like I said, my mum was the life and soul of the party. And I remember walking outside on my own, thinking to myself, does my mum want to come back into this world in a completely different way to how she was 48 hours previously? And my answer was always no, she doesn't. I know my mum, I understand how she is. We spoke to the doctor a few more times, and then I went and saw the doctor and was like, yeah, you can turn the machine off, and yeah, that was it. Now we're going into the jewellery quarter. Well, this is where I spent 6 years of my 20s. This is where I actually learned how to do business. This is where I became a man, basically. It's where I got my first property, as in my portfolio started. This is a really prominent time of my life. This is something that I look back on and I'm like, wow, this is where it started. This was a catalyst. So my first taste of business was in the jewellery quarter, 6 years of my life, 20s. And I met a guy who gave me a role, and I shadowed him for 2, maybe 3 years. And in those 2-3 years, I learned more than anything else I've ever done. And I'm so thankful to this person for allowing me the opportunity to become the person I am today. I learned how to run an office. I learned how to manage accounts. I learned what taxes was. I learned how to deal with people. I learned how to be a human being in the business world. And I was super, super successful that within 3 years of shadowing this person, I ended up taking over the whole company. I went into the jewellery quarter with a Renault Megane, the ones where you had the little cards and you used to push it into the thing. And a Honda Civic, or I think was my next car, a Honda Civic Type R or something, because I earned a little bit of money when I was there to start with. But my first real money when it came, I treated myself. I bought clothes, trainers. My trainer addiction is absolutely insane. I am a trainer freak. I don't really drink, very rarely. I've never smoked. I don't do drugs. I have no vices apart from trainers and clothes. So I spent a long time there, and it was the best time. It was a great time. I met Isabella there. So it was a fantastic time, and it was my first real taste of business. So it was a really, really successful part of my 20s, and that's what led me into my property. That's what made me understand it. That's what made me realise that I can earn more money doing property than I can actually having a job or a business. So I stepped away from that and I concentrated full time in the property world, which was approximately 8 years ago. And then obviously now we're sitting in it. Yeah, it's a big part of the jump from my teens going into adulthood and then becoming into this property world that I'm in now. So I ended up renting this building here, and I turned it into offices. Back there, up on the right, cool as fuck. So property started in that jewellery quarter. I bought my first house, my first buy-to-let when I got some money, and I waited to get some more money, and I bought another buy-to-let, and I did it the complete opposite way to how I teach it now. I did it the old school way: buy the house, put your money into it, get your rent, which is the dumbest thing ever. You shouldn't really have a buy-to-let portfolio until you've got 5 or 10 properties, because then it's a decent income. Tying 30, 40, 50 grand cash up for £400 profit is stupid. Use it to flip. But I did it the opposite way, and I learned from it. So when I was younger, when I was a kid and when a teenager and growing up, I was always fascinated with houses. So when I used to drive past a house, I used to be like, oh, I want to live in that house one day. Oh, wow, look how big that house is. Oh, I'd love that house to have a games room, a cinema room. Oh, you could build an extension on the side of that house. I knew this from young. I just didn't know what it was. So when I did get into property, I have a very creative eye. I spot things that other people can't spot. Not everybody can't spot it, but 99% of the population don't spot things that I can see. And that's why I believe in property, I am up there in the 1% of the UK who is really, really, really talented at adding value to houses. I genuinely believe I'm in the 1%. And yeah, property began in the jewellery quarter, bought a few buy-to-lets, realised it was great money, realised how much value I added to the houses when I bought them, and then here I am sitting here today. What is the property circle? That's a question that we get asked on a daily basis. So the property circle is a network of like-minded individuals all coming together to help each other in their property journey. From beginners to people who have a few buy-to-lets, to people in the circle now, the property circle, who have 6+ buy-to-lets. There's solicitors, there's accountants, there's roofers, there's building contractors, there's every form of job out there is now in this circle. We're growing at such a pace that I think now we have over 150 members today in 6 months. Was getting lots of messages on social media from people saying, hey Steve, I can see you're into property. I've just paid this person, educator, this much money. I don't feel like I've got anything from it. I feel like I've been ripped off. So I remember sitting down, I said to Isabella, right, I want to create something to stop these people doing what they're doing. If I could do it for free, I genuinely would do it for free. I spend a lot of my time helping people. Even though the camera's on, I do so much for people that nobody sees on social media. I help so many people. My mission with the property circle is to inspire the next generation, as well as help people who want helping. If I can change one person's life a week, a month, a year, I'm doing something good. I believe that if you add value to people's lives, you will always be successful. So I do have a mission and I do have a plan, and I don't stop. If anyone knows me and you know how driven I am, until I get what I want, I don't stop. I'm Stephen Hamilton, and this was my story.